Try it at Peter's car.
Power bill through the roof? At 320 Solar, that power bill will be no more. In fact, about 90% of our customers report lower solar payments than with electricity. That's more power in your pocket. 320 Solar. Power up. Going solar with 320 may cost you nothing down. But the work we do is not a $0 job. With a 10-year roof penetration warranty and solar panels guaranteed for 25 years, you can have peace of mind knowing we will do the job right every time without question. Solar. Power up.
Yeah, I would call them hat and T-shirt games. You know,
yeah.
This is a hat and T-shirt game. You get a hat and a T-shirt when you're in the playoffs, and so yeah, it's a great feeling for those guys. You know, that was the goal this year. It was to get in the dance, and anything can happen once you're in there. But get ourselves in the dance, and we have that opportunity Sunday.
Is Tampa right now, that team you watched yesterday, are they a threat to make a deep playoff run?
The expectations are Super Bowl.
Now, it's a team game, and it's a team accolade to go out there and say we're Super Bowl champions. So he's going to need everyone in tow.
You look at the column of the W's and the L's, that's all I really care about as a football player and as a head coach.
Let me tell you something right now, and this defense that Tom Bowles is running. Oh, my Lord. These brothers can ball.
Got a receiver open. It's Antonio Brown. Touchdown, Tampa Bay.
Are the Bucs more likely to win the Super Bowl or miss the playoffs?
But we haven't played the playoffs yet. We don't know what's going to happen. The debate will be settled on the field. With Fournette at your running back spot with Ronald Jones as well. And then you got Brady flat out balling.
All I know is that all I want for Christmas under this tree is the first playoff for the Buccaneers since 2007. And Casey, it's right there.
Evolution. Sports Talk Television live here nightly. All Bucs report. It's the Sports Web. I'm your host, Peter Blake, giving you something to think about on tonight's show. Bring your passion, bring your excitement. Just don't bring any nonsense. Will you shut up and be quiet? Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome back to another edition of the Evolution of Sports Talk Television, the Sports Web, live from the Deck Bar and Grill, getting you ready for Bucs versus the Detroit Lions on a day after Christmas. I'm your host, Peter Blake, along with Mr. Blake Anthony of Sports Talk 49. That show could be seen and heard here on Monday and Fridays at 3 o'clock. So are you ready for this game today? I think a lot of people are. How do we start off the Sports Web? Let's do it right. Bring your passion, bring your excitement, just don't bring any nonsense. And it's very easy today. Can the Tampa Bay Buccaneers exercise that 13-year curse of not being in the playoffs? Can they beat the Detroit Lions, who come into this game 5-9 looking to play spoiler?
They definitely can. Gonna get a playoff spot today, Pete.
Yeah, I mean, that is the big time story. And if you don't remember how long ago that was, 2007, I was 29 years old, starting my first job in radio at 10:10 a.m. What was the number one songs on the radio at that time? 2007.
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah, man, you make me take it back there. Think about it.
How about Beyonce's Irreplaceable? How about Rihanna's Umbrella? And then also, if you think about it, who was the team that beat the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in the first round?
It was the Redskins.
No, it was not. It was the New York Giants, 24-14. Consequently, they went on to beat the undefeated New England Patriots with Tom Brady, and Tom Brady is going to lead this ship in Super Bowl 42, of course, that game 17-14. So all these things are going around right now. A lot of Bucs fans looking for this team to make the playoffs with the Christmas going on. I mean, I think that's what a lot of fans want. And of course, we want to definitely hear from you. 727-255-0391. It's 727-255-0391 as the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are coming off a comeback victory after a first half of basically having nothing there, 60 yards of total offense, 31-10. Second half where Tom Brady throws for 390 yards and 2 touchdowns. Tremendous. And there's something on the line today, not only in the playoffs, but also for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and Tom Brady. This will be his 300th game that he's played in his NFL career, which is amazing in itself, right?
Yeah, so it's a pretty big milestone that quarterbacks didn't used to make, years ago with all these rule changes protecting quarterbacks. So it's good to see that the most important position on the field can get a longevity of a career like that.
So what gets you ready for Bucs versus the Lions as it's win and get in today? Also, if the Chicago Bears lose, then they can also earn it. Unfortunately, the Bucs will not have any opportunity to win the NFC South as the Saints took care of business yesterday over the Minnesota Vikings, 52-32. So that basically is out the window. But we mentioned the Giants coming in 2007. How did they make it to the Super Bowl as a wild card team? So win and you get in. In fact, to tell you what, let's start out in hearing from Tom Brady and the importance of this game on the evolution of Sports Talk Television. Here we go.
I want them, this is why we play, to put your team in a place and give yourself an opportunity to compete for a championship. And it takes a lot of work to get to that point. It's very hard to get to that point. The competition's tough. Week in and week out, you're playing against great teams, great coaches. Every team has strengths and weaknesses, and we put ourselves in a position where if we win, we're in the playoffs. So that's where we're at. And that's what we know what's ahead of us. We got to go out there and play well. We're playing against a very explosive team that's played very well at different times throughout the season. They've had leads. They haven't held on to all of them, but they played from ahead. They played from behind. They got a very good quarterback, great group of skill guys. They have a very tough scheme on defense. So we're going to have to go out there and play our best 60 minutes.
And that's what it comes down to, playing your best 60 minutes. And welcome back to the Deck Bar and Grill in Isla del Sol. It's the Sports Web. I'm your host, Peter Blake, along with Mr. Blake Anthony of Sports Talk 49. We'll have Tampa Bay Ray Kennedy here in a moment getting his thoughts on it. But you're exactly right, and it continues to hamper this team the last couple of weeks, getting off to slow starts, namely versus the Atlanta Falcons. And even Coach Arians talked about it this week, that maybe you can do that versus a team like the Falcons, like the Lions, who are coming into this game with COVID situations, not having their interim head coach, of course, firing Matt Patricia already earlier on just a couple weeks ago. You may be able to get away with that versus bad teams, but when the playoffs start, you necessarily can't get away with it against them, right?
Well, that's not necessarily true. They've already done that against the undefeated Green Bay Packers coming into Tampa Bay earlier in the season, and they won. But it's something you don't want to do. So definitely what little to no offense like you had with the Atlanta Falcons game. They're very fortunate that everybody came together in the second half and everything started clicking and they got rolling. So that you can't keep putting those chances at risk. So you got to find a way to converge those third downs and put yourself in manageable down and distance and keep converging on third downs.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I tell you what, let's go out to the Television as we're trying to get out to him. There he is, Mr. Dude. Welcome to the Evolution. What do you have to say here on the Sports Web live from the Deck Bar and Grill? Playoffs.
It's game day in December for the Buccaneers, and there's playoff implications, not just implications. They can clinch a playoff spot today. Hey, want to get on here real quick and shout out to the sponsors here, 320 Solar, the Deck Bar and Grill, all you guys down there enjoying yourself. The other two outside who are freezing. Want to say hi to everybody out watching. Appreciate it. The dude has a prediction. He'll drop it later when Peter gets to that segment. Want to say hi to everybody watching at home on your big screen TV, through Facebook Watch, Twitter, Twitch, YouTube. It doesn't matter. Anyway, just wanted to say thank you guys for doing what you do. Let's go Bucs and fire the cannons.
Absolutely. We'll go ahead and fire those cannons right there. You hear that? All right, good. Everybody's awake right now. Your special Saturday edition of the Sports Web. I'm your host, Peter Blake, along with Mr. Blake Anthony. Let's go out to the webheads here, read some of these comments. Johnny Dean says, what's up? John Ford says, go Bucs. Donald says, Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, go Bucs. John Ford says, keyword rhythm to find it. Excuse me. Johnny Dean's a great football weather up here in the north. -2 right now in Pittsburgh. Is that great football weather?
It's the worst feeling in the world, getting hit in your fingers with a cold.
Honestly, Tampa Bay Ray Kennedy was trying to get me to come outside today with all you guys. And I was like, look, I feel like I'm a chihuahua because I'm from Florida. I have no fur to deal with the cold weather. And it is cold outside for a Floridian. Right here, Will you shut up and be quiet? It's great football weather again.
Look.
Oh, shut up. How about this? All right. Good Bucs start, finish strong, 52-33. Thought that's what I said. Did I say 52-32? Couldn't read my handwriting. 52-33. The Saints won. Johnny Dean, you okay? Won. You're good with that? All right, good. All right. Love you, Johnny Dean. Good morning, gentlemen. Happy holidays to you and your families. Absolutely. Sean says we need to put this team away today, and I want to see 60 minutes from us. Ethan says, let's go. Let's go. Minutes. December football. Again, 2007, 13 years. It's amazing. Absolutely amazing that it's been that long for the Bucs to get to the playoffs, but they have an opportunity today. If they defeat the Detroit Lions, absolutely. Deshaun says, 411, 2 reasons the run game should be better today. Run defense of the Lions is abysmal, and the running backs should be prepared for the opportunity and not be pressing, but able to capitalize on runs. Sean says, I'm pumped up today. Tampa Bay. And Jamie says, hi, Blake, from Connie's mom, Nana. Who's that?
Some of my peoples.
Oh, some of your peoples. Okay. Okay. All right. So since your peoples are watching right now, if you will, let's go out to the winning angle here. What's that all about? Go ahead and preview it.
Which
here.
One you got? You got Wells or you got White?
No, we're going to go to the winning angle for against the Detroit Lions.
Oh, the winning. I'm thinking perspective. Excuse me.
Yes.
Yeah, the winning angle. Yeah, it's like what Deshaun said. That Detroit's got a lot of stuff going. So much going on. It's like Deshaun said. Detroit's got a lot of defensive linemen out. Like their key star, their end. Trey Flowers is out.
Yes.
Danny Shelton's out on IR. They're missing Deshaun Hand. So your defensive front is abysmal. They're all gone. And then even your rookie corner. At Ohio State, I believe Okudah's out.
Jeff Okudah, Desmond Trufant. Yeah. So they're down to 3 healthy corners in this game. There's a great opportunity. We'll come back and talk about Mike Evans and that possibility of eclipsing Randy Moss. But let's go out to the winning angle from Blake Anthony of Sports Talk 49. Yes, it's you. Enjoy.
Everybody, welcome back to another edition of The Winning Angle with your host from Sports Talk 49, Blake Anthony. Today, we're going to talk about the Buccaneers' upcoming matchup, some key things to look at, and what they should do to win. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. Here's the Winning Angle's to-do list. Buccaneers on offense. Play your game. No turnovers. Take your shots deep. Defense. Tackle in open space. No extra yardage. No mental mistakes. Last but not least, make one-dimensional. Player spotlights. Levante David, Mike Evans, Lions, T.J. Hawkinson. Bucs need to find a way to start fast. I know Arian said he doesn't want to talk about it, but let's look at some of the reasons why. Here's the first clip I could think of last week. It's a blitz, but it's picked up perfectly. Leonard Fournette, Tristan Wirfs, everybody does a great job in protection. Brady rushes the ball and misses 2 wide open receivers coming across there and coming across on the left side of the screen. I promise you, folks, the Lions will do this. This is a 2-4-5 double A gap. Middle linebacker, 45, drops back to force the protection. DB loops around and comes into a free B gap. Here it is here. DB comes through the free gap. There's nobody there to protect Brady, and it's a sack on this play. Kind of reasons why they start late. Folks, I don't normally do this, but I'm going to call this early. Mike Evans should have another 100 yards receiving, and then Antonio Brown should fare very well. I can see Brown right here in the slot, running right at this safety. This safety has a bad tendency of staring at the quarterbacks, and I'll show you on another clip later on. All the defenders staring in the backfield. Wide receiver makes an easy move back outside. The safety does not have a chance to catch anywhere near the wide receiver, and he goes for a touchdown. As I promised I said I would, I'll show you another clip of the Lions defense. Single high safety again with this safety. Again, he shows you he's poor at tackling, he's poor at cover in single high safety look when wide receivers are in space. Devontae Adams and Aaron Rodgers just throw a simple, I guess, back shoulder fade on this play. Safety does not have a chance. It's beat inside again, and you know the rest. I anticipate the Detroit Lions to replicate what the Atlanta Falcons did last week against Sean Murphy Bunting and put him in some compromising situations since he struggled against Russell Gage and Calvin Ridley on these deep crossing routes, putting the ball on the sideline where the safety can't get help when they have a single high safety look. Much like I've said all past weeks, teams are learning to take advantage of play action against Levante David and Devin White because they're very aggressive in the run game. So they're going to use play action passes and get them off their spot and throw right where they left from. I really would like to see this week either 54 or 45 get their hands on an interception this week and either put some points on the board or give the offense in prime position to score. So Tampa Bay defense, don't over pursue in play action. Thanks for watching and enjoy the game.
All right, good stuff there from Blake Anthony of Sports Talk 49, and you're exactly right. We talk about Evans coming into it, only needing, 220 yards of receiving and he can definitely get it because you look at these names.
You can do it.
Well, you talked about it. You have Desmond Trufant, who's out of this game. You have Jeff Okudah from Ohio State, or Kuda, excuse me. These are your corners right now. You have Amari Umarori, who's local. You have Darrell Roberts, you have Justin Coleman, you have Mike Ford. Some of those corners are actually dealing with injuries right now, so it looks like the Lions actually only have 3 healthy corners. So there's a prime opportunity here for Tom Brady once again to feed it to Mike Evans, who did very well last week. 6 catches for 110 yards. And for me, he was really the catalyst. And somebody told me off air, when they're getting it to Mike Evans, everything opens up. Is that what you see?
Of course, when you get it to your main star, then it tends to open up everything for everybody else because you're game planning not just for the rest of the guys. You got a game plan for Mike Evans as well because he'll gas you.
Sure. No, he'll absolutely gas you. So opportunity today. Do you think he could possibly get it today, or does he get it in the next he gets over 100 today, 110 today, and you think he gets 110 against the Atlanta Falcons?
We'll start with today. As I said, I don't normally do that, but I anticipate Mike Evans getting 100 yards receiving today, no doubt.
Yeah, I mean, you pointed it out. The play on the back end, it's just absolutely dreadful.
Harmon is awful. It's awful.
I mean, they're 31st versus the run. They're 27th versus the pass. And on top of it, they have 12 takeaways and 19 sacks overall. Their leading guy has about 4.5 sacks.
So you know what I'm going to say. The key word to all of this is
right.
What we're all saying, and I put that as one of my defense's checklists. no mental mistakes.
Yes.
That is the only way you get hurt today is mental mistakes.
Exactly. And that's been the key for the last 2 games for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, even with the slow starts. You're not having a lot of big time penalties, not turning over the football, which is, Tom Brady's big time key. You look at the other quarterback on the other side, not too bad. Matt Stafford, 23 touchdowns, 9 interceptions. And even Coach Arians talked about it this week of how much he really appreciates a Matt Stafford and how he gets it done. And really the Lions, they haven't put a lot around him in his whole career, his whole body of work. You look at it, one of the most underrated quarterbacks. And when he's back there in the Bucs, this is a big time key. If they let him sit back there and gunsling it all day long, this offense can score points because they definitely do have some weapons here. DeAndre Swift, who's young, Adrian Peterson, who's been a buck killer in this past, a Marvin Jones Jr., who's done well this year.
Their
and he
star
also
is out.
Right.
Galladay's out.
Galladay's out. He's been out
That's
for
their
most
deep threat.
of the year, right? And you have TJ Hawkinson, who's coming on in his second year, really showing that he's a top tight end, worthy of that first round pick.
Absolutely. He's been what everybody does now in the league. They're trying to model Gronkowski. You want that guy that can pass, run, block, and catch passes. But to back up what Peter's saying in this game, the most production that you ever seen out of Matthew Stafford was the years with Jim Caldwell, because Caldwell taught him to extend plays and move the ball. It's not shown on the report, but that's what he has. He almost missed the last game because of that, but he decided to play. So I noticed in his game, he's not running. He's not trying to take extra shots. So he's still ailing that rib injury. If the Buccaneers can get him uncomfortable, get those shots early, he's going to throw. He's not going to use his legs to make throws. He's going to be throwing with his upper torso. And then what that means is some of those balls won't have enough velocity on it, and defenders will be able to get their hands on it.
Sure. No, absolutely. And going back to the game itself, they already have Darren Bevel, who's their interim coach. He fired Matt Patricia. But as your head coach today, you have Robert Prince, who's the current wide receiving coach. You have the offensive play caller and Sean Ryan, current quarterback coach. Is he related to Buddy or Rex? Or
it's possible, because if you hear that name in football, it's usually
your defensive play caller is Evan Rothstein. Okay. You have your defensive backs coach is Tony Carter, your linebackers coach David Carrillo, and your defensive line coach Ty Warren, who I believe played in the league with the New England Patriots. The point is yes, Ty Warren is a defensive line coach. And here's the thing, Evan Rothstein will be calling plays on the defense. It's an odd choice because actually he spent much of his time in 15 and 17 as an assistant on the offensive side of the ball. So how much do you think this is an advantage for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers? I mean, you wouldn't expect them to get out-coached today, would you?
If you get out-coached today, somebody better be getting their pink slips out tomorrow.
Right. Exactly.
Write your own pink slip.
Right. Exactly. And that's why I'm saying at this point,
no mental mistakes. You're going to hear me say this over and over today.
You definitely have a distinct advantage here. And COVID right now in the NFL, the Bucs have done a good job of it. Besides maybe a Ronald Jones, who's going to most likely miss again because of not only the fractured pinky, but also the COVID situation. It looks like they're going to have Donovan Smith back. So Leonard Fournette's going to definitely be dependent on. You think that offensive line will be better with the Donovan Smith there or Josh Wells?
He doesn't have to play against their pass rusher Trey Flowers. If Trey Flowers is there, Trey Flowers is definitely going to beat him up because Trey Flowers is a very physical defensive end. But he gets a break this week. He should not be getting beat this week because they have no star pass rusher coming out this week. So he should be able to play like a starting left tackle.
Now, also the Lions activated Everson Griffin. He sounds familiar, so he's on the team now, and they also have corner Tremaine Brock and center Evan Brown. So right now, basically, the point is the Detroit Lions are 5-9 coming into this team. They don't have their interim head coach. They already fired their head coach. They have multiple injuries. So if you can't blow this team out and absolutely outcoach this team, there's definitely a problem. What do you guys think about the Lions versus the Tampa Bay Buccaneers? Come on, 727-255-0391 and 727-255-0391. It's the Sports Web, powered by 320solar.com. I'm your host, Peter Blake, along with Mr. Blake Anthony of Sports Talk 49, which can be seen and heard here on Monday and Fridays at 3 o'clock. So we talk about some of the weapons they have here. TJ Hawkinson, 60 catches, 60 catches, 675 yards, 6 touchdowns. The matchup that I'm looking at, which it seems like the Bucs have definitely had some problems with, are their linebacking core, namely Levante David and, of course, Devin White. Do you think that this is a matchup that favors the Lions, or can the Bucs once again do a good job of holding Hawkinson at bay?
They should be able to hold Hawkinson at bay. He's not a real, vertical threat. He's a great possession tight end. But, of course, if you get out of position, getting sucked in on play-action passes, you're going to leave him open, and that's something that they've been had an issue with all game. It seems like they play better when they don't focus all their attention on just stopping the run.
Right.
So I tend to notice in games they make more plays when a team is actually able to run the ball a little bit, but they still get back in pass coverage, get their hands on passes and cover people, so they're able to get sacks and cover sacks and things like that, rather than just focus on all the retention on just the run, because they're really giving up some big passing lanes when they do that.
Yeah, no, and I look, Devin White coming off the game last week, 3 sacks, 8 sacks for the year, has an opportunity to go double-digit sacks.
Not good enough for Pro Bowl.
Well, and not getting voted for the Pro Bowl. First and foremost,
it's sickening, man.
He needs to work on that aspect of his game, right? The coverage thing. I mean, that's what he needs to work on in order to take that next step of being one of the top linebackers. Not that saying he's not one of the top linebackers already, but he needs to work on that aspect of his game, right?
I mean, of course, you always got something you got to work on, but if that's what they want to focus on in this defense, is taking away to run first, then so be it. But yeah, you're going to always work into that. It's definitely something they got to work on, both of those linebackers. But otherwise than that, they're pretty stellar. And Devin White should have made the Pro Bowl. There's nobody else with the statistics that he has, him or Levante David. Fred Warner, is a good linebacker, but I don't think at this point he's better than either one of them.
Right. Well, I don't think so either. But the Pro Bowl, obviously, it's a fan vote, but it's also voted on by coaches and players. They felt differently.
I doubt
Fred
that.
Warner made it, and he didn't have the statistics
Folks,
to make it.
Watch the top 100.
Mm-hmm.
You will, if you see all 4 of the Bucs linebackers in there in the top 100, clearly Pro Bowl's not voted by players and coaches, or the percentage is not as high as we think it is.
Right.
Because if they make the top 100 and then didn't make the Pro Bowl, you have your answer.
All right, there you go. Again, 8 sacks for the year, 130 tackles.
Not
disappointing. Levante David not in it. Is there anybody else that deserved to make the Pro Bowl over those 2 guys?
Carlton Davis should have definitely been mentioned into that talk.
Okay. Did they take the one game into account with him and his struggles versus Tyreek Hill?
Of course, it's voted by fans, so of course that's why he didn't get in. So that one game hurt him and erased everything else he did all year, unfortunately for him. So, like I said on my show, I know everybody's like, "Oh, we don't care about Pro Bowls." They care because I've had Levante David's agent on, Ron Butler. He told you straight on air that matters to their contract.
Sure, it does.
That matters to their legacy. At the end of the day, they count Pro Bowl. Unfortunately, guys can make Pro Bowl that don't play it down all year, but well, that's a whole nother conversation. But it hurts them in contract negotiations, and it hurts when your accolades at the end of your career. So I'm going to know how many times Levante David got screwed out of it. And Devin White may not have another season like this.
No.
When are you? How many times is a middle linebacker going to get 8 sacks and still can't make the Pro Bowl? Like, it's ridiculous.
It is ridiculous.
I said
I agree
he
with
may
you on
never
that.
have this ever again in his career, but it wasn't. Clearly, it's not good enough to make the playoffs.
Well, what people are saying is that Fred Warner has
Pro
led
Bowl.
that defense with all the defensive injuries. He's still been able to put up those numbers. And then, of course, Bobby Wagner, who's, he's been a media darling. Everybody knows him, loves him. Seattle continues
That's why I
to
said it's
win.
voted by fans.
Right. So,
And I love Bobby Wagner, but he's not the Bobby Wagner of old. He's a old veteran. He's a old Bobby Wagner of new. He's older
he's
now.
not as good as
Yeah.
Levante David, and he's not as good as Devin White. We've shown the numbers before. So
and so is Nick Citro several times.
Right, absolutely. What about Ronald Jones or Tom Brady? Especially Tom Brady, 32 touchdowns, 11 interceptions, only 2 away from eclipsing the Bucs
record,
single season touchdown record thrown by quarterbacks. Why not him in that conversation? Kyler Murray has less passing touchdowns. Of course, he has more rushing touchdowns. He's the big name, the big young name right now. But why not Brady?
You can put him in that argument. I think people are just going to say the 11 interceptions is probably what puts him down a little bit. But otherwise than that, he's been stellar. He's been Tom Brady as he should. He's going to get more touchdowns. I expect at least 6 more touchdowns between this week and next week, and that's a minimum.
All right. I'll tell you what, let's go out to the phone lines. Leading off here, Mr. Johnny Dean, the professor. Welcome to the Evolution. You're on with yours truly, along with Blake Anthony at Sports Talk 49. Bucs versus the Lions. What do you say, my friend?
I'm not worried. This is a tune-up game.
Well, look, I would definitely caution everybody to say this is a tune-up game. I get it, and I understand that. Definitely the Bucs they should have an advantage over the Lions, who are coming into this game 5-9, and COVID situations with their coaching and all the injuries. But again, it's the National Football League.
If you look at the matchups, even if they were healthy, this should be a tune-up game, man. And even take away the coach and give them their old coach back and everything else.
Well, that's the reason why he got fired in the first place. He wasn't very good, but
exactly.
talent-wise, right?
Why did Jim Caldwell get fired again?
Head coach, you're going below it to a what is he? An offensive coordinator?
Mm-hmm.
Not even an offensive coordinator. He's what is it? What is he? A line coach?
Right. The guy that's coaching right now is a wide receiving coach.
Oh. Right, wide receiving coach. Okay,
yes.
Yeah.
Oh, he's a Joe Judge.
Yeah, he's a Joe Judge.
Oh, no records. Never mind. Let me not
the
even.
Talent. Take away all
Special
that.
teams
the talent
coach
does not match up on the field.
Right.
And their scheme does not match up on the field.
It does not.
This is a game where the Bucs should be able to go in and do anything they want to do.
Literally.
Anything. They can go in there and experiment. It's just we couldn't have got no luckier than what we did right now.
Oh yeah, they definitely got a favorable schedule, and what's going on with the Lions missing both of their top corners and only having 3 corners that are healthy. You're bringing Everson Griffin off of the
Father Time,
right? I mean, it's not like they have all these defensive playmakers, and then offensively, besides a Matt Stafford, they have a couple guys, but they're just guys. I don't think they're necessarily primetime players.
It's not like they got me out
we
there.
We beat them when they had much better defense. When they had Darius Slay and stuff, we beat them.
Right, exactly.
I'm not looking at this team, and we had a worse team then too. So
I would just say with the slow starts by the Buccaneers in these past couple of games, I would be just a little bit worried about that again, because you don't want to get off to a slow start. You don't want to keep this team in the game, because if you keep this team in the game, not only do you have to expend energy to come back, but on top of it, you give them hope. You don't want to give this team any hope at all. There's a reason why they're 5-9. You got to make sure that you're the team that's trying to go for the playoffs and playoffs, trying to win a game today so you can clinch a playoff spot in 13 years. So leave no doubt.
That's what I'm looking at. That's what I'm looking at.
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking to see whether they clinch easy today and then rest their starters next week.
Well, I don't know. I mean, again, with the Rams' loss to the Jets, the Bucs may have an opportunity to we got some breaking news. May have an opportunity to get that 5th seed, which, of course, everybody wants to have that 5th seed because you played the NFC East. And we got some breaking news. Carlton Davis has been ruled out. Not a shocker, because the Bucs actually promoted Herb Miller from their practice squad last night. So still dealing with that groin injury. So that's another matchup where the Bucs have to depend on a Jamel Dean and, of course, a Sean Murphy-Bunting. And Bunting didn't necessarily look that great last week. Even Ricky Reynolds talked about it on the show on Wednesday, what he was doing wrong. So what else, Johnny Dean?
I expect Bunting to have a decent game today.
Okay.
Not a great game, but a decent game.
Well, he's a local guy. He made a play last year with the pick 6, so he definitely wants to.
Yeah, his family will be there.
Right. He definitely wants to show out for his family. So we'll see what happens.
Blake, what do you think about the? I'm trying to find something to be excited about in this game, but I think it's going to be a walk-on. Blake, what do you think about their defensive line? Do you think who's going to ball out the most? The offensive. The passing game or the running game?
You talking about for the Bucs? Which one's going to take off?
Yeah.
They should be able to run the ball all over them with all their stars. All their 3 stars are out on their defensive line. Deshaun Hand, Danny Shelton, and Trey Flowers are out. That's your whole defensive line.
Right.
And that's a big hit.
That's a huge hit.
Yeah.
All you got on the line now is Boo Boo the Fool. Nobody knows who he is. So, I mean.
See, that's what I'm saying. The Bucs should be able to pass or run. What is their pass defense rank? 21st, and the run is 31st?
No,
the run is 31st.
31st is run and 27th for passing. So it's not good. It's not good. It's a great opportunity for the Bucs to really put up some points, and they did it last year, 38-17. Of course, a different team and different circumstances at this point. Because what you get excited about is if you win the game, you go to the playoffs. So that's what you get excited about.
I mean, I get excited about that, but I'm not as far as concerned about. I have no concerns about losing this game.
Okay,
this game might look like Friday's game was.
Well, it may be, but that game was close also with the Saints and the Vikings. That's what you kind of worry about.
Yeah, Breeze I'm talking about the final score.
Oh yeah,
right.
And if the final score looks like that, that's going to be because
but the point is that game was close. About the third quarter, and then basically the Saints decided. Yeah, absolutely. We were just talking about Tom Brady, and then we're watching NFL Network right now.
Talking about should he be in the Pro Bowl?
Yeah, I mean, again, 32 touchdowns, 11 interceptions, and he has an opportunity today. So, what are your keys to this game today for the Bucs to win?
Play your game.
Okay.
Execute. That's it.
Execute.
Just execute, and you should walk away with this game.
Okay. All right. Give me a score.
I'm going to give you a 50-point score.
Wow.
I'm going to say 55 to.
And that's coming from Johnny. And he don't give that out.
No, he doesn't. He doesn't.
He don't give that out.
He definitely doesn't do that.
50.
Yeah. All right. Good stuff, man. Let me go ahead and fire those cannons for you right there. All right. Later, Johnny Dean. There you go. I tell you what. Let's go out to Coach Arians and his thought about what is the main bugaboo. In fact, Leo Haggerty asked this question at his press conference this week here on the Evolution of Sports Talk Television, the Sports Web, powered by 320solar.com. Here we go.
It's just execution. It's just flat execution, and all 11 guys. It's not. If it was one guy, we bench him, but it's different guys at different times on different drives, and then whether it's the middle of the second quarter. Where we've had some great second quarters, everybody gets going, and for me, it's just about winning. And I'd love to start faster, but as long as we win, I'm good.
I'm good. I'm good as long. I like to start faster, but as long as we win, I'm good. I mean, is that okay with that attitude? I mean, this team can turn it on, turn it off at any time. I mean, isn't this dangerous to you? In your opinion?
I mean, I can't be wishy-washy because like years ago we're just saying we're close at the end, Bucs are close at the end of the game and they find ways to lose,
right?
And so you're finding ways to win. So I can't really complain about that. Like, of course, there's stuff you want to clean up every game, but like he said, you find a way to win and everything else will fix itself. And they're finding ways to win more than they are losing. Hence why they're 9-5 this year.
Yeah, no, it's a great point, and we're just seeing at Pro Football Focus, who's the third-ranked quarterback, Pro Football Focus?
TB12.
Who are the other two that are ahead of them?
Russ and Rodgers.
Didn't they make the Pro Bowl?
Yep. So here it is. So everybody's argument for years and years is that, they don't make the Pro Bowl because their team don't win. So how the hell does Fred Warner make it and the team is losing?
How did the Lions have more Pro Bowlers than the Bucs? So that's what I'm saying. Like I don't understand it. I don't understand it.
So did the Glazers do something to somebody that we don't know about, or because clearly winning is not the answer because you don't have that. You can't use that excuse anymore. So then you come to, the guys don't play good enough. That's a lie. There's a few of them that are balling out,
right?
Not even getting a sniff. Well, I don't know where else. I mean, are you going to hook them up with the All-Pro team instead of the Pro Bowl, or are you, like I said, they're going to make the top 100? Like, what are you going to do? Because it's ridiculous. It's literally, I'm telling you, he'll never get these stats again, and he won't make the Pro Bowl. It's a shame. I'm talking about Devin White.
Right. Well, not only Devin White, Levante David, you mentioned Carlton Davis, of course, the breaking news. He's going to be out for this game. So it's going to be SMB and it's going to be Jamel Dean. Are you comfortable in that situation? Because Ricky Reynolds, like I said, former Buccaneer great on Wednesday, had a lot to say about SMB, and he said it's more technique than anything else.
He's right. He's absolutely right. He's digressed, and I think Todd Bowles said that a couple of times. I'm not sure if it's really at the groin that still hasn't healed yet, and he's compensating for it. Because that's a groin injury is something I'm sure Ricky will tell you as well. It's something that doesn't go away quite fast as much other injuries. It doesn't go away till you stop running on it. So, I mean, he's had that all year. I'm guessing maybe that has something to do with it, but it's still no excuse. He's getting beat, and I just like I showed you on the winning angle, they're going to put him in compromising situations. I promise you, you're going to see the same type of stuff that you just saw with Calvin Ridley and them last week.
No, absolutely. Guys, if you want to get on the phone lines, you have something to say about Bucs versus the Lions. What do you think? This is what I hear right now. I'm hearing.
Well, I will say this, Peter. I don't know if a lot of people saw this because Devin White took it down, and I didn't have the heart to record it and play it either. So I didn't want to. So Devin White, for some reason, went live on his bus on his IG last night. Okay. I don't know why he did it. I don't know why he did it, but they're playing cards. They're playing cards on the bus. And Devin makes a comment and says, "Hey, man, you need to put your mask on so you don't get fined." and of course, you hear Jason Pierre-Paul cursing up a storm. I didn't realize he cursed that much. Boy,
he curses.
I thought I was bad sometimes. Jason Pierre-Paul's cursing up a storm, but Devin makes a comment. He says, "Oh, it's so cold out here." He said, "If we was playing in Green Bay," he said, "I wouldn't play." So, I mean, I just hope these guys are focused because they're a little goofing off a little bit too much last night. So and kind of cut the video really, really quick. So I'm not sure a lot of people may not have saw it, but it went on and went off and it's deleted from his social media page. So I just hope those guys are not taking this game for granted and come out there and handle responsibility. So I wanted to add that because it went on quick and he cut it off. So I don't know why he even turned it on.
Really quick, speaking of JPP, talk about his year, 9.5 sacks leading this team. I mean, he's been a gamer ever since Jason Light has traded for him, and we'll get out to the guys in a moment.
Third round for this kind of performance for a guy who had a messed up hand, a broken neck, and come out and perform half a season with almost coming up with double-digit sacks last year. I'll say it now. He's gonna get double-digit sacks this year. It's just been astronomical, and you want guys like Jason Pierre-Paul, regardless of what he does off the field. I could care less. I said, but it's his attitude. He wants to win, and he takes personal challenges and things. And people said he was done. He's washed up, et cetera, et cetera. He clearly showed the Giants that he's not washed up. He showed everybody that he could still play. And those are the kind of guys you want that are on your team that are self-motivated.
Yeah, 12.5 sacks his first year, 8.5 last year in 10 games with a broken neck, and now 9.5. So he has an opportunity to get over. And 3 players with 10 sacks. You can see Shaq Barrett, JPP, and Devin White. That hasn't been done in a long time.
Nope, not in a long time. And only one guy on that defense is going to get recognized to the top 100. I'm telling you, all 4 of those linebackers are going to make the top 100. You'll see the difference between Pro Bowl and top 100. Where the guys? I thought they were going to jump on.
They're going to jump on in a moment. I tell you what, let's go out to Devin White, your perspective on him, because I definitely think, it's something that we absolutely need to cover. And you broke it down perfectly on how he achieved his sacks here against the Falcons.
You like that?
Absolutely. Love it. On the evolution of Sports Talk Television, live from the Deck Bar and Grill, Bucs versus Lions. Here is the perspective from Mr. Blake Anthony of Sports Talk 49 on Mr. Devin White, the Sheriff. Here we go.
What's up, everybody, and welcome back to another edition of My Perspective with your host from Sports Talk 49, Blake Anthony. Check out today's My Perspective and let me know what you think. Make sure to follow me on social media. Enjoy. Devin White, what can I say? Another stellar performance, just like he had in Las Vegas Raiders with 3 sacks then and 3 sacks now. So much for a sophomore slump, right? So why can't guys like him, Levante David, make the Pro Bowl? What more do they got to do? Are the Buccaneers cursed? Are they just not that good? You guys check out the tape and let me know what you think. Enjoy. This is just a well-timed blitz by Devin White. Pays to be a former running back. You know how to find holes. White times the blitz perfectly, pretends he's covering Gurley out the backfield, has a clean shot to Matt Ryan's blind side for his first sack of the fourth quarter. This sack here is pure creativity by Devin White. Again, fakes hard to the B gap. Fullback goes to commit to Devin White. Put the brakes on. Come back to the A gap on a nice stunt. Gives a free center lane in the A gap to Matt Ryan. Matt Ryan, you know you're not going to out Devin White. Devin White rides him till he can't no more. Takes him to the Old Town Road for a sack. Hops on Daisy May and rides off into the sunset. Devin White probably is going to get the easiest sack of his career right here. Comes out on a blitz. Thinks Gurley's going out for a pass route. Stays and covers Gurley. And his due diligence, being disciplined, he finds himself an easy prey of Matt Ryan laying helplessly on the ground like a wounded deer for a sack.
All right, good stuff there from Mr. Blake Anthony of Sports Talk 49, and welcome back to the Deck Bar and Grill in Isla de Sol. It's the Sports Web, powered by 320solar.com. I'm your host, Peter Blake, along with Mr. Blake Anthony. I believe we got the guys out there in the cold. I have no idea why they wanted to do this shot, but let's go ahead and go out to them, see if they're ready to go. Guys, what's going on? Welcome. And no, they're not ready, so there you go. That means no. That means no. So
I'm assuming that was.
I guess it was a high.
Waving.
Yes.
Do you think that was what it was?
Yes. So, guys, want to hear from you. What do you have to say? 727-255-0391. It's 727-255-0391. You were talking about it with the White breakdown, how this is not necessarily scheme. This is not necessarily all Todd Bowles. This is more being in having instincts, right?
Yeah, because he knows if he comes on that blitz on that play, he knows Gurley's going to come out and squeak out until the flat's free. So he stayed back and covered his man, saw that the rush was getting there. And then he saw a wounded Matt Ryan laying on the ground. Might as well get in there and get you a free sack.
Right.
Later on the
but
ground.
Even some of the delays and stuff like that, just finding ways to get in there and cause chaos. And that's been kind of the difference from last year. Of course, he started out with an injury last year, and then you saw the second half of the year, all the potential, and now he's been fully healthy. And basically, Todd Bowles has had confidence to unleash him. He talked about this about a month and a half ago, and it's been a totally different defense when you unleash a White.
8 sacks later, I'm interested to see if he can get 10.
Yeah.
But, yeah, you're absolutely right. It pays to be a former running back because he's good at finding holes in the offensive line. That's pretty much what he did on the blitz play. He just ran to what they call it, run the daylight, as he used to say back in the day. You run the daylight, and that's what he did. And daylight was the Matt Ryan for a sack sandwich.
Absolutely. There you go. All right. So, again, Johnny Dean says, let's not kid ourselves. This game should be a get-right game, tune-up game for the playoffs, much like the Saints Friday was. Real question for me is, will they clinch the wild card and rest people against the Birds next week? He mentioned resting players. Do you think they rest it? I don't think they can afford to rest it, especially if they have an opportunity to have the 5th seed. Although I guess there's some circumstance where if the Rams lose today, of course, the Bucs will be in the driver's seat. That's what I'm saying. I don't think they rest players. Do you?
It's possible. I've been peeking up at these headlines up here, and what I've seen is the Atlanta Falcons have multiple offensive linemen out again, and one being their Pro Bowl center and Alex Mack. They got their starting guard, Carpenter, former Alabama Crimson Tide, is out. So that's 2 key spots in their offensive line. If they're out again next week, could play a key part in what Arians might want to do as far as resting guys coming into the playoffs.
No, you're exactly right. You're absolutely right about that. All right, let's see here. Let's go out to Ari. I like to see Shady get 20 carries and 5 targets. No, it's more Leonard Fournette today.
That's a whole lot of carries.
Yeah, that's too many carries for Shady McCoy. I don't see that happening either, but you like to see it happen. Would you expect Shady to get more carries? Because we didn't really see him last week on a lot of downs like we saw him against the Vikings. So was it just the matchup? Are they comfortable with going with Leonard Fournette as the starter? Why do you think Shady didn't see that many carries versus the Falcons last week?
That was a kind of game that you needed that ground and pound kind of guy, because the run wasn't really opening up much with big running lanes, but you needed to get those big yards, putting your head down and powering forward. Shady's not going to do that. He's more versatile. scat back out the backfield. This game might be big for him, maybe in the pass catching department. And if the Bucs get up early, I can see him getting some extra carries in. But to go to him early in the game, to get 20 carries, I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't see it either.
Yeah.
I don't see it either. And I don't think you brought Shady McCoy in here to be your lead back or get 20 touches. You brought him in here maybe to get 5 to 10 touches. And, who knows? If he gets something outside, we could see the explosive nature of him. But, of course, Ronald Jones, the victim of volume, will not be playing today. So he hasn't been able to test that injury out. So we'll see. But I still feel like he is the catalyst and the best running back on this team. Fournette, once again, will be asked to carry the load, and we'll see if he can do it. Big MK13 gets 130 today. Christopher Cole, LBD, should have made the Pro Bowl 5 or 6 times. Christopher, I'm hoping that Evans has a huge day. Khalif says, no easy games in the NFL. The secondary needs to step up. Leonard Fournette gets 75 plus. Agree? He should, right?
75 yards, he better. On this defense
alone, right. I agree. All right. Misador says, Johnny Dean dropped the 50 burger. Ari says SMB could pick up some confidence today. He needs it. Wonder if he will play more 3 safety looks. Could you see that happening?
3 safeties.
3 safety looks.
I don't think so. I mean, who are you afraid of on that passing offense?
Marvin Jones Jr. Your Galladay's out.
Galladay be the one I'm worried about. Marvin Jones Jr. is no slouch, but
TJ Hawkinson.
But you don't have. But you need all those pieces. It's like the Golden State Warriors. Steph Curry is not as dangerous without Klay Thompson and Draymond Green. So I mean, it's the same thing without your other stars on offense, because you just key on those guys and pretty much shut them down.
Okay. All right. Let's see here. JJ Sean says, what channel the Bucs play on? Any info? NFL Network. Everybody knows that. There you go. Fox says, Ari, no, it is NFL Network. Again, what time? 1 o'clock. That's why we're on here on the Sports Web. Johnny Dean says Eastern time, I guess. Let's see here. JJ Sean, thanks. Ari says, do you think White will get better in coverage? Do you think he gets better in coverage? I mean, can he get better in coverage? He can get a lot better, right?
It's just Bowles emphasizes stopping the run and making them become one-dimensional.
Mm-hmm.
It's just they got to find a middle ground. It's just got to be some type of middle ground that they got to work on. I'm not saying he's got to be a Richard Sherman in coverage every play at linebacker. It's got to be a middle ground. He's just got to know when to pull up and realize it's a play action and get back under the passing lanes. That's all. It's just a little thing.
Absolutely. All right. Let's see here. So good question by Ari Greek. What do you think about today's game? We haven't got to him yet.
We're waiting for him too, Adam.
We're waiting for those guys, and this has all the makeup of a trap game. We need to start fast. Do you agree with that? Is that a trap game for you? I mean, Matt Stafford scare you again? He's a quarterback that's gotten it done in the past.
Who started this trap game?
Trap game. Well, it's a trap game. It seems like for every time the Bucs play.
Nobody's mentioned this for years, and we've been on here. Now, every week, this word is getting mentioned, trap game.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let me entertain it. If you don't come out and play your game, period, you'll lose to a team. If you come out turning over the ball, you'll lose to any team.
Sure.
You come out with 60 yards of offense in the first half, you'll lose to any team.
Right.
So, I mean, any game could be a trap game if you don't come out and handle your business. So I said, play your game, no mental mistakes. Those are the two phrases of the day. And play your game, no mental mistakes.
And here's the great thing about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers: they're 5-2 on the road. They have an opportunity to go 6-2 on the road. When's the last time they did that?
2007?
Nope, 2002. Super Bowl year. There you go. 727-255-0391. It's 727-255-0391. I guess the guys are ready. We'll go out to them. Again, the game is on NFL Network. Keep it here on Bucs Report. We got you covered with not only your pre-show, which is going on right now, but also your halftime show and your post-game edition, which a lot of people expect this team to clinch today. And I think they absolutely got an opportunity, but you're exactly right. You have to play your game. You can't make mistakes. You can take some deep shots down the field. And speaking of deep shots down the field, let's talk about Antonio Brown.
Mm-hmm.
I think I'm very happy that this has all turned out so far. 5 catches, 93 yards, including the clincher, 46 yards to the house. Are you surprised by Brown and his play on the field? And also, are you surprised by how he's not been a distraction off of it?
I think the play on the field shouldn't be shocking. A guy like that just doesn't turn into a scrub overnight. But as far as his attitude, I think Tom Brady taking on that responsibility has helped out a lot.
Yeah.
and trying to show him the ways to handle things differently as an adult and a football player. So I think that's helped out a lot, and Tom Brady should get a little bit of that credit as well.
Do you think he has an opportunity to go off today with, again, we talked about it, the three healthy corners that the Lions have?
And them three together is one isn't good enough to color Antonio Brown.
And just to give you an idea, guys, of how bad the secondary, not to saying that Ryan Tannehill's not a good quarterback, but he's not one of the best. 270 yards, 3 touchdowns. The Tennessee Titans look like an explosive offense. They're not. That's not what they do. Yeah, that's not what they do. So again, with the Lions, besides Matt Stafford and T.J. Hawkinson, DeAndre Swift last week, 15 carries, 67 yards, 2 touchdowns. Are you impressed by the young man? Huh?
How many receptions?
I don't know how many receptions.
A lot of passes out the backfield.
So is that a worry that you would see them trying to go short?
Yeah, that's why I put one of the things is tackle in open space, because they throw. Stafford checks down quick when he doesn't see it vertically downfield, because either one, he don't trust his line, or two, he's just going to his back in space and letting Swift earn his paycheck. He throws out to the flats a lot, so you're going to see that a lot. Him going out in the open space to the backs. These guys got to make tackles in open space and don't give them any extra yardage.
And of course, the Bucs have they boast the number 1 rush defense, only giving up 3.4 yards per carry, 77.8 yards a game. So once again, it's going to be a challenge, and of course the Bucs are going to.
They're not going to try to run the ball anyway. They're gonna run it, but they're going to throw it to the backs, and they're going to pass it pretty much. Just the Lions they haven't been a running team, and DeAndre Swift just wasn't that guy. As I told you guys coming out of the draft, he's not that guy. He's not that kind of back.
Yeah, that's worrying me right there. That's tipping over, it looks like.
Yeah, it's got the little gangster lean right there.
I don't like that at all. So I'll tell you what, let's go out to the guys, see what they have, see if they're ready to go. Let's go out to Tampa Bay Ray Kennedy outside alone with Mr. Harry the Greek. Guys, you good to go? How are you feeling out there? It's kind of cold, right?
Can you guys hear us?
Oh, yes.
Well, yeah, it's a little bit loud.
Yeah.
Yes, turn it down just a little bit there.
A little bit better?
Yes, it's a lot better. There you go, buddy. Go ahead.
You posed the question why we're out here. I'm telling you what, it's beautiful. It really is. I mean, people spend most of the year adjusting the air conditioning to get to this temperature right here, and that sunshine feels fantastic.
If you're not human, you might need a parka, though.
Great day for football, guys, like you're talking about. I like what Blake said about having to play their game and getting Stafford dancing in the pocket early. He's been over 100% in quarterback percentage the last 3 games, and the Bucs are going to have to apply that pressure today, because you don't want Matt to get any confidence early. You want to make him downtrodden as fast as you can.
Now, Johnny Dean expects this game to basically be a walkover. And if you look at it, not only are the Lions dealing with the coaching situation with COVID, having a wide receiving coach and this coach and that coach calling plays, but on top of that, you have all the injuries in the secondary. You guys would expect Mike Evans to go off today and this offense to really go off today, right?
Well, yeah, but it's funny you mentioned about Johnny Dean with the runaway. What were you just saying about the line, Harry?
Earlier in the week, I told everybody the line opened up at 6.5 and 7, and it was a real smart play, even if you can get them at 7.5, because I thought the game would go up to 8 or 9. Not only did it go to 8 or 9, it went to 10, and it's now 11 points. And the total in the game has gone up to 55. This is going to be a high-scoring game.
Yeah, but the money in Vegas is moving over to the Bucs.
Yeah, oh yeah, the money's definitely moving to the Bucs, but it's way too much of a point spread. You cannot bet 11 points because they haven't covered 11 points on the road other than Carolina.
Today's the day as this team gets ready for those playoffs and we secure that first playoff berth in 12 years. Today's the day with a rounded offense and that strong defense given time to adjust and not let Detroit get off. I think the Bucs do cover that line, but you're right. I'm probably not going to put a lot of money on it.
They need to find a running game today. I can tell you that, because if they don't want to get into a shootout, they need to run the football. And I keep saying that week in, week out. And Tampa has shown me nothing the last 5 or 6 weeks that they're going to come out of the gate strong. I wish they would, okay, because if they do, this could be one of these 50-3 games, but you can't. I mean, Tampa's supposed to handle this team very well today.
Yeah, they should handle this team very well, and it's actually 13 years Tampa Bay, Ray Kennedy. Let me ask you, the last time the Bucs, what was the opponent they played in 2007? What's the significance of that opponent, and why does it correlate to Tom Brady?
The New York Giants, and the New York Giants would go on and they would take the New England Patriots down from their undefeated season and beat them in that Super Bowl, right?
Very good. 17-14, of course, Burrows catching a touchdown in the fourth quarter, but of course being known for what catch against his helmet. Who was the receiver who caught the ball against his helmet?
Ooh, now we're getting tricky here. I'll give you a second on this one. Any ideas?
He didn't play the following year, if I'm not mistaken, for the Giants.
That would be David Tyree.
Tyree.
Yes. By the way, 2007. What was the number one song on the radio, guys? Go for it.
I'm too sexy.
Shut up.
For my house.
No, that's not what the song was. It's Irreplaceable by Beyonce, and hopefully this Bucs offense is irreplaceable today with getting out to a good start. We'll see what happens, guys, but it's been 13 years. A lot of Bucs fans wanting to see this team get it done. So you talked about it, Harry the Greek, this line right now. You're betting the over on it?
Oh, absolutely. Well, at 54 I was. It started at 52. Then it went to 53 and a half. Then it went to 54. Now it's 55. But going back to Beyonce, I got a $100 bill right here for Ray to dance like Beyonce live on air.
For $100, I'll dance in the lake.
I wish you would jump in the lake, honestly.
No,
Thanks, Pete.
that's for 200, guys.
This guy carries hundreds, like, making it rain out here.
And no, Blake, I am not giving you the $100 because I know you'll do it.
Blake will do anything at this point. And we're on with Tampa Bay Ray Kennedy, Harry the Greek here, Mr. 88%. I'm your host, Peter Blake, along with Blake Anthony of Sports Talk 49. Let's go back out to the matchups. What are some of the keys you see in this game, guys, happening for the Bucs to win, and some of the matchups for the Bucs to be concerned about defensively versus this Lions squad with Matt Stafford?
If I'm taking it first, you got to see that pressure, because if Matt does get comfortable in the pocket, we've been saying it for a couple of years, but the defensive secondary is still our weakest point, if you will. And, they've been getting stronger. I think Winfield is a big game today. I think Winfield, because I tied it back in Cup of Ray this morning, back with Big Tweez, Winfield Sr. and Little Tweez now. He grew up a Central, following his dad playing for the Vikings. And, of course, they played the Lions twice a year. So this is still an old NFC Norris division matchup game, if you will. We need Winfield to come up big, but I need to see that front seven strong today. Don't let Matt get comfortable and start throwing those wheel routes.
Yeah, Matt Stafford, he's going to put up points. I mean, let's just face it. The guy's a premier quarterback in the National Football League. They got a decent offensive line. He's got weapons to throw to. They have an extraordinary running back if they ever used him. But honestly, 21 to 27 points is not going to be enough to beat this Buccaneer team. I do not see any issues for Tampa Bay offensively going up against a depleted secondary and a team that really doesn't have an identity on defense right now. They have a couple of decent pass rushers, but I think Trey Flowers, if I'm not mistaken, is not playing. So that's going to protect his backside a lot more, especially when it comes to Brady going downfield.
Yeah, no Trey Flowers at all. Of course, the Lions, they've been absolutely killed by the injury situation, only having 3 healthy corners. The big-time talk has been Mike Evans. Can he get that 220 yards in the next 2 games? What do you guys say? Harry, I'm going to start with you because you're a betting man. What are you betting on this, that he gets over that 1,000 yards and eclipses Randy Moss in his career?
Well, hurry up and get online and bet the over on Mike Evans, because his total receptions for the game, are you ready for total yardage?
Yeah.
64 yards. 60, let me repeat it, 64 yards.
Wow.
And his total catches over and under is 3.5. Not attempts, but actual catches.
Well, based on the way the Bucs have used Mike, and it's seemingly that 7th 1,000-yard season is not on the radar. And we know making the playoffs, securing that win today is most important. But here's what I get. Going back to last night with Alvin Kamara. So Sean Payton doesn't put him in there initially to get that 6th touchdown to tie the NFL record for rushing touchdowns in a game. But then later on, after Minnesota, Cousins runs down the field, Minnesota gets the ball back again, and then Sean Payton puts him in there. And the first thing I'm thinking about right then and there is Sean Payton is the kind of coach that's going to let those players, come on, playing Alvin Kamara in the 4th quarter with the lead, that game was in hand. He's going to let his players go after that record. And as long as it doesn't hurt the Bucs' chances of a victory today there in Detroit, I think Mike Evans goes for $125.
Piggybacking on that, I think Mike Evans could care less if he gets 1,000 yards. He just wants to get to the postseason and get a win.
True.
But I do see him going over $1.25 today.
It's actually interesting, guys. I'm going to get back to you in a moment. Let's hear from what Bruce Arians had to say. So let me go ahead, put you in the lobby there really quick. We'll come out. And I was kind of surprised by this response from Coach Arians about, Mike Evans getting that 1,000 yards here. Here's what he had to say on the evolution of Sports Talk Television, live from the Deck Bar and Grill, a day after Christmas. Can the Bucs clinch? This is what Arians had to say about Evans' pursuit of history. Here we go.
That's something in my mind. I have not talked to the quarterback. I don't want the quarterbacks forcing things.
Nope.
But yeah, it's in my mind. I mean, when guys have a chance to, in the history of the NFL, make something happen, you want to see it happen. And yeah, I would love for Mike to get that record.
All right, a little bit low on the sound there. We do apologize for that. So, but basically what he was saying, well, let's go back out to the guys here. He wanted to see history take place. He wants to see it. So he even said it. He prefaced it when he came in. Look, I don't necessarily want to see a quarterback force it. Our quarterbacks are not going to force it, especially a Tom Brady. But at the end of the day, he's aware of it. You got to believe that Evans is aware of it and Tom Brady is aware of it. And with the injury situation that the Lions have right now, guys, it certainly seems like a possibility that Evans could get it.
Yeah, and like we said, you're not going to see the Buccaneers do anything to hinder those chances of getting that playoff berth. But, I mean, why not in this game? Especially, I don't want to say game in hand, but you got the Falcons at home next week. The Bears still have to win 2 in a row. The Bucs would still have to lose both games, and even then it takes a little bit of math, although the Bears win the tiebreaker because they beat us outright. But, I mean, why not let Mike get off, even in the first quarter? I mean, just let him try to get him above 50, 75 in the first quarter, settle back for the rest of the game, establish that run, and then see what happens in the fourth quarter. But you can definitely, I mean, the guy's 6'10". Let him have a few deep throws. Let Tom go deep with him. And if they're going to blanket coverage to try to, if that's the Lions' goal, of course, the Lions with an interim head coach today, being their wide receivers coach, is now in for Bevel, who is the interim coach, and he's in the COVID protocol. If the Lions' sole purpose today is to blanket coverage to stop Mike Evans from getting that 7th 1,000-yard season, the Bucs are just going to beat him outright. You're going to see Bryant, you're going to see Godwin, you're going to see, and other players are still going to pick up those yards.
You see, I don't see them playing man coverage on any of the wide receivers from Tampa. So there's going to have a 10-yard cushion at any given point in time. So they're going to be throwing a lot of the underneath passes. They can't tackle, though. So a lot of his yards are going to be yak yards.
Across the middle. Why not take him? We know Mike Evans can pick that ball up across the middle and take it for 20 or 30 on a yak. So why not get those yak, Pete? I know how you like those.
Absolutely. You love the yards after the catch, definitely. And we talk about it all the time here, Blake. You know, the yards after the catch, that's important to this offense. And you don't want to get into those third down situations because it seems like this year the Bucs have had difficulty in converting those. That's been the key to their offense the last couple of weeks, converting those third downs in the second half. But yak is definitely important.
Definitely the yak. I know you love yak as much as you love veggies on your omelets.
Well, that's not true at all. I hate veggies. So you saying that right now, this is what you get.
But yak is always nice. That's what Chris Godwin is more known for. Evans isn't more of a yak guy. But as Harry just said, Lions are awful at tackling in open space, as I showed you on the winning angle, especially their safety Harmon. Those guys I wouldn't expect them, like Harry said, to play man covered. I see a lot of soft zone. They sit at the first down marker, try to keep receivers in front of them. If it gets behind them, they'll get beat. It's all going to depend on the offensive linemen of the Buccaneers, and they've done well this season. I know Stephen Shea did a nice breakdown on Alex Kappa, who's flown under the radar.
We're going to play that coming up here in a little bit.
Who's flown under the radar by many, not us here at Bucs Report. We've known he's been playing very well. Next to should have been another Pro Bowl player in Tristan Wirfs, but offensive line is going to play a key part, especially taking their shots deep.
Absolutely, offensive line is definitely going to play a key, and of course, the Bucs. Josh Wells last week did a pretty good job. We'll get that perspective from Mr. Blake Anthony of Sports Talk 49, but they're going to get back Donovan Smith. So, with this Lions defense, that's a big time boost, guys, right?
Yeah, but we still have to see Donovan I got to see him get to the next level. I got to see him making those tackles or making those blocks. I got to see a little meanness. We've seen it once or twice, even in the game when Jensen moves over to Marpet's position and fills in for Marpet, who was in the concussion protocol. We know that Donovan Smith does have a mean streak somewhere beneath that big teddy bear surface of his. We need to see that today because, again, going to the playoffs, we're going to be facing better teams, possibly the frozen tundra of Green Bay or maybe a Washington football team, depending on how things shake out, even the Rams. And the way to win those games and have a better shot of securing and getting a victory in the playoffs will be to establish that run game. Need to see some meanness out of that offensive line. Ryan Jensen needs to spread that meanness across all 5 positions.
Yeah, I would have to agree. Hey, I got a really good stat here. It's actually not a stat. This is a really good betting line. You're going to find this interesting.
Sure.
If you think that Leonard Fournette is going to be the main bell cow today, how about this one, Blake? The total receptions for him is 3.5. And if you bet over 3.5 receptions, they're going to give you 2-1 on your money.
Wow. Look at that. You like that?
Wow.
You like those odds?
I think they're going to feature Leonard Fournette. They have to.
I think they are too. I think they are too. I mean, I can't see any way, shape, or form going other than Leonard Fournette. We talked about it. Shady McCoy, he was brought in here to be a change of pace guy. He's not your bell cow. You know, Keyshawn Vaughn is still a rookie. Maybe he takes some carries away, but I think it's Leonard Fournette, and that's the reason why you acquire Fournette in the first place is this situation. If you're missing a Ronald Jones, a victim of volume, which he seems like he's the victim of the injury list here lately. Thank you. Yes, see, that's the reason why you get a Leonard Fournette. So, guys, let me ask you. Go ahead.
Victim of COVID.
Yeah, victim of a fractured pinky, but hopefully he gets back because I feel like this offense is definitely different when he's in it and he's running the ball. I feel like he's going to be a catalyst. And Devin White talked about it, guys, and I'm kind of a little bit worried about that mindset. I'm not going to play in the cold. You very well may have to go to Green Bay and have that matchup again and play in the cold.
Concerned me, and he cut that video. He cut that video. His exact words. He said, "Shit." His exact words. He said, "If we got to play in Green Bay," he said, "I'm not playing."
See, now that to me, that again, I'm not going to throw the guy under the bus because of that. But remember, the knock on him coming out in the draft out of LSU was, I'm already working for that second contract. And Devin's shown up. I mean, 3 sacks last week. And I mean, the guy, we thought he was snubbed a little bit on the Pro Bowl. But
not a little bit.
Ray, he will never have these numbers again. At a middle linebacker, 8 sacks. That's a lot for a middle linebacker.
Yeah, especially because you're expecting from the linebacker position in 3-4, but from the middle linebacking position, definitely, like you said, Blake, good numbers. But when he makes a statement like that, I think it's half tongue in cheek. But you start to. That's only been the second statement of his I've heard that I start to go, what the heck? But this guy's going to be our franchise linebacker even beyond when Levante's here or Levante hangs the cleats up and whatever he does next on a couple of years, hopefully another contract at least. But Devin White's going to be your main guy in the middle. I'd like to see more double nickel than Devin White at this point.
All right, guys. I tell you what, let's go out to the phone lines here. Let's get somebody on the line. Welcome to the Evolution. You're on with yours truly, Blake Anthony at Sports Talk 49, Mr. Harry the Greek, 88%er, and of course, Tampa Bay Ray Kennedy, best of the Bay. Couple Ray, what do you say? What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, what's going on, guys? I'm Adam, calling from Largo, Florida.
Okay.
Hey, I just wanted to say what's up to my boy Harry the Greek. Unfortunately, I probably can't stay on the line too long. I'm in the parts business. Harry knows very well about that. But going back to the game, I think Evans has a really, really decent game. I'd probably say he definitely goes out. This is a game where the Bucs are going to make a lot of adjustments and what they need to work on in the playoffs. So I can tell you right now, I'm looking forward to seeing the Bucs in the playoffs and seeing what they can do. But definitely, I'm hoping they don't make a lot of mistakes in this game. But if they do, it's an adjustment game, and I just don't see the Lions doing much in this game at all.
Harry,
I would agree with that. How you doing, Adam?
Another day in paradise, my friend. Another day in paradise, and you keep doing your thing, brother. You're giving that good feedback to people that are betting out there.
Absolutely. I'm going to tell you right now, 11 points is a lot of points, but I said everything I had to say was earlier in the week. You needed to bet that game. You needed to bet it 6.5 to 7 and no more than 7.5. This line ballooned. I mean, it went up high. You got to stay away from the game, but the over is still a good play.
Absolutely, man. And I'm just showing you guys love. I really appreciate you guys coming on here and feeding us with knowledge as far as what we need to do as far as there's a lot of fantasy players right now that are playing for their championship. This is championship week. So
tell you what, I was going to say, if you had Kamara, I think you probably already locked up that championship this week.
Yeah, easily. 6 touchdowns. He could have. By the way, he could have had 7 touchdowns. What's Sean Payton doing putting in Taysom Hill? I mean, come on, sourpuss. He could have put in Alvin Kamara could have broke the record, 7 touchdowns.
Sean Payton's is a huge Gale Sayers fan.
But here's the thing I said about that. When he initially takes him out and Taysom gets that touchdown, I was like, you know what? some records, Sean Payton's going to let players go for those records, and players will play for a coach that they know will let it all hang. Because why do you still have Drew Brees and Kamara in the game that late when really I think the game was pretty much in hand from the first quarter? Minnesota came back once or twice, but then they get that ball back after Cousins marches right down the field, and then Sean Payton says, all right, go ahead back out there and get that 6th touchdown.
Piggybacking on that, if I'm not mistaken, Gale Sayers only played a half of football in that game and got the 6 touchdowns. I'm almost positive someone needs to go out there and correct me on it and do a fact check, but I don't think I was knee-high to a grasshopper when he did it.
Was it Gale Sayers he's now tied with Gale Sayers?
Gale Sayers, and he did it by kick return, punt return, and running the football, and it was a muddy day playing San Francisco. That I do remember.
Wow.
And something's telling me he didn't play more than the first half of the game. That was it.
Wow.
It's amazing. It's an amazing day by Kamara and the Saints. Go ahead, Adam.
Did you guys actually like the combination with Alvin Kamara's sneakers yesterday? I mean, it was very
Hey,
green and red.
Whatever works for you on Christmas Day, but he had a tremendous day, and that was definitely the reason, and it's been the reason, and it's continued to be the reason why the Saints are NFC South champs, and hope that the Bucs get an opportunity to face him again, because he's definitely a point of emphasis, and that's a guy that you have to slow down, maybe not necessarily always on the ground rushing, but also what he can do out of the backfield with catching the passes and being a mismatch nightmare when he gets out in space. He's electric, and that's what a lot of teams are going to have to worry about. And hopefully, or not hopefully, the Saints continue. Maybe we'll forget about him, but yesterday, not so much. They did not forget about him. So, Adam, you got a prediction on? Yeah, go ahead.
It's really as far as and I'll end with this. It's Alvin Kamara. They've always looked at him as a slasher running back. That's the key. That's his code name.
Sure.
So it's so hard as a running back and playing football. I mean, I played football, tackle football, but not with pads on. I can only imagine. But
sure.
These guys, to catch the football and then to actually make moves right afterwards. I mean, you can just see. The off season, he definitely works on his footwork. He definitely, some of the cuts and making people miss. I mean, it is so hard to find so many people these days to actually be a good catching running back. And he's the best this year I've seen.
Yeah, he's definitely tremendous. Go ahead, Eric.
If I was playing defense against Alvin Kamara, the first thing I'd do is rip the nose ring out of his nose. And then I'd like to see how he's feeling, first off. Secondly, I'd probably take his dreadlocks, because it's not part of his uniforms, and just put both hands in it and just pull as hard as I could. That's how I'd handle Alvin Kamara.
Also, don't forget that one of the reasons why, and I'll be honest with you, I said I didn't have a problem with Kamara getting that 6th touchdown, but I've taken quite an amount of glee in the last couple of years, 3 seasons, watching the Saints make an early exit from the NFC or from the playoffs, of course, against the Rams a couple of years ago. We won't even go there. But one of the things the Saints have going for them this year, they haven't in years past, is they have a healthy Kamara going into the playoffs, and he seems like he's at 100%. So any team that faces them, and I hope the Buccaneers get that 3rd chance to face them, not only because it's so hard to beat the same team three games in the same season, but when the Buccaneers can establish that running game, you fight mano a mano, do ball control offense with a running game. I like the Bucs' chances of giving the Saints a heck of a lot better game they did so far this year.
I agree with that. And I'm going to say one thing. The Minnesota Vikings are not a very good defense at all. And if New Orleans is missing not one but both of their wide receivers in the playoffs, I assure you Alvin Kamara is not going off for 6 touchdowns. Okay? Let's get that right out there. This team will be very pedestrian if they become very one-dimensional, especially going up against a Buccaneer team as stout as they are on defense and against that running game. Because if they have the game play just to stop Alvin Kamara, that'll be a huge mistake. Very similar to what happened against Aaron Jones with the Green Bay Packers, and that's the result I think is going to happen in the playoffs if they get to face them.
Yeah, looking forward to it.
Good point. All right, Adam.
I can tell you guys real quick, Harry and Ray, ask Harry if it kind of reminds him of being in Chicago, being out there, especially with the wind blowing so hard today.
I'm going to
no
slap
comment.
You.
I'm going to slap him in a
nice.
minute. It's beautiful
nice.
out here.
Now it's chilly up there in the shade a little, isn't it? But you come out here in the sun or go inside and get yourself. We got Bucs fans coming in here. We got 12 jerseys, Tom Brady jerseys all over the place. Buccaneer game day down here at the Deck Bar and Grill at Isla del Sol. Get on down here if you haven't already, or if you're not planning on coming down. Again, I mentioned earlier, you're doing that after Christmas shopping. Maybe you're exchanging some gifts. You've had some great family time. Come down here, get a table, remain socially distanced, enjoy some of that great food that we've already been talking about. We're going to be getting here in a
The
little while.
Walker's Wood Shrimp Special. Unbelievable here. And no, Peter, I'm not giving you my shrimp.
No, will you shut up and be quiet?
I'll let you guys go and enjoy the game.
All right, man. Thanks a lot. Appreciate you. Let me go ahead and fire those cannons for him right there. So there you go. Open phone line 727-255-0391 and 727-255-0391. Guys, are you surprised that there are not more Pro Bowlers for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers besides the JPP?
Yeah, and I'm going to go ahead and say this. Everybody has their own opinion, and I honestly think that the Bucs were a victim of volume. And let me explain. They won the offseason. They had everything. Tom Brady, Gronkowski. We literally still own every news cycle, even on the NFL. You turn on the NFL Network, and even when the Bucs were in the middle of a 2-game losing streak or they're not doing as well, one of the top first 3 stories is Tom Brady and Bruce Arians, and they were in the news all year. And I think as a result of the fact that they had some slip-ups along the way, people, I hate to say they did this, but they purposely looked for reasons to not be able to include those Buccaneers in the Pro Bowl because they were slighted. There was some great numbers with this team, but I think that they were a victim of the media volume they've been getting all year, and people just went, let's go ahead and spread the love somewhere else because they know, and I think they do know, truthfully, Harry, that before the end of this season, as we get into the playoffs, the Tom Brady, Bruce Arians, Buccaneers narrative is going to get strong and long. So they're taking a little breath, and they did get cheated.
I got to agree, but I'm not as sour about them not making the playoffs because that literally could be a blessing in disguise because the people that were snubbed, they're going to play with a chip on their shoulder. And that's my theory on this. I'll tell you right now, the players that were snubbed from Tampa, they'll trade that all in for 3 things: making the playoffs, winning in the playoffs, and getting to the Super Bowl.
Ooh.
Okay, they would actually give that up for what? To play a meaningless game?
Well, they're not even playing it, right?
I mean,
2020,
and they're not even
being
playing
played,
it.
so.
Okay, and I understand it's the accolades of being the best of the best, but trust me, fellas, they'll give that all up just to get it into the playoffs and get some victories in the playoffs.
Yeah, absolutely. And Tom Brady mentioned that this week he had some comments. I think there's a lot of people who end up being deserving of a really cool accolade like that. I've been very fortunate to be picked a bunch of times. And I think it's really good or really great for other guys to get picked too. It's hard sometimes to pick just a few guys. This year, there were a lot of great candidates at a lot of positions, and I had a lot of teammates that I wish that would have made it. You just got to keep trying to go out there and earn it. And I think ultimately for me, it's about winning games. I think individual accolades have a certain place. The most important thing for me has always been winning football games. And I wish we were 14-0 at this point. We're not. We haven't deserved it. We haven't played to that level yet. But hopefully we can play at a much higher level this Saturday as the Bucs get ready for the Detroit Lions. And if you win, you're in. So your thoughts on those comments, guys?
I love it. I love it because of the fact that, and it goes right back to what we were talking about a few minutes ago with the Mike Evans in the 7th 1,000-yard season, and what a coincidence he would break the record. He's currently tied with Randy Moss, who was a teammate of Tom Brady's. But I do believe that being said, and I agree with everything he just said there, I do believe that him and Mike have probably at least had a couple of conversations about maybe we can make it happen, but we're not going to at all try to do it if it's going to affect the result of that being a victory.
I got to say just one thing. Just win. It's as simple as that. Just win. Period. Al Davis made a comment years and years and years ago. That should be the mantra in Tampa Bay. Just win. Don't care how you win. Get in and win.
Yeah, that's it. And you want to get in and you want to play your best football, Blake, because if you get that momentum to do that, then basically you carry on that momentum. And we've seen in the past when teams get hot at the right time, they become very scary. And I don't think there's a team out there, if this Bucs offense can certainly put it together and not slow start and have balance to their offense. And he even talked about it this week in Coach Arians, where if you're running the ball, you set up the play action. If you can do that, there's no defense that wants to face this offense, period.
Absolutely. If you're firing all cylinders and doing what you need to do, it's hard to stop a team like the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. You can put up nearly 400 yards of passing in a single half and put up 31 points. It's scary. You could talk about a bad start at the beginning, but it's just scary if you could actually put 60 minutes of football, what the things you could achieve on that offense.
Guys, I want to go out to you really quick, and then we'll put you back in the lobby because we got Stephen Che of Barstool Sports with his breakdown. In your opinion, what has been the thing, the bugaboo that has stopped this team from starting out fast? Is it the execution? Is it the play calling? What is it in your opinions?
I'll let you take this one first. I'll finish up.
I've been beating his drum since week 3. It's been the coaching, and it really has been. Let's preface it. Shortened off season, all these new players, most important player at the most important position being Tom Brady. Just because you bring, Tom Brady doesn't go to any team in the league and still remain the GOAT. I mean, he still is, but he has to learn that offense and get that cohesiveness with the players. But I truly believe there's just been so many times this season where the coaching staff, especially on the offensive side, has outthink themselves and tried to go, oh, we got all these things. We're going to do this, and this. And if you get down to brass tacks and just start with the run to set up the pass and the pass to set up the run, but be committed to go back and forth to make the defense play honest, I think they would have had a lot more success. So I think for me, it's been mostly the coaching.
Well, I'll tell you what I think it is. Just a combination of two things. A, they're not running the ball coming out of the gates. They're wanting to pass the ball way too much, and they have really, really good weapons to throw to. There is not a team in the National Football League that wants to face this offense. And I assure you, when you bring Tom Brady to town and you have all the wide receivers and the tight ends in a slash of 2 or 3 really good running backs, you are getting every opposing team's coming in, giving them their A game. They are just trying to stick it to them every single time. You'd swear that the Buccaneers are the reigning Super Bowl champions from last year, and that's the Kansas City Chiefs. Everybody's throwing the kitchen sink at this team every single week, and that is one of the reasons why I believe that they're coming out of the gate slowly. A lot of it has to do with running, but they always make adjustments in the second half, and they come back and they win the games.
It's a good point. All right, guys, let me get you out of here, get you back in the lobby. We'll come back to you in a moment, all right? Stand by. All right, there you go. So the guys out there, Tampa Bay, Ray Kennedy, best of the Bay, of course, here at the Greek, Mr. 88%. And, of course, open phone lines if you want to call. You want to talk about Lions versus the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. If you win today, you're in the playoffs. You exercise that 13-year curse with the Buccaneers not being in the playoffs. 727-255-0391 and 727-255-0339 again. 0391, excuse me. I'm your host, Peter Blake, along with Blake Anthony of Sports Talk 49. Let's go out to Stephen Che of Barstool Sports and his breakdown of Alex Kappa on the evolution of Sports Talk Television. Enjoy.
The guy who hasn't gotten much attention this year but deserves some shine is third-year guard Alex Kappa. On Sunday, he had a great game against one of the best defensive tackles in football, and Grady Jarrett. Kappa does a nice job with his hands. Check him out here as Jarrett tries to knock his hands down. Kappa lands a square shot right in Jarrett's breastplate and kills his momentum. His lower body is married to his upper body and stays square. Great pass set. And here he uses a veteran trick by flashing his hands early to get Jarrett to shoot his hands early too. It works, and Kappa does a nice job getting his hands inside and has a good, strong vice grip on Jarrett, who's going nowhere quick. And Kappa has done such a great job transforming his body, which is what is needed coming out of Humboldt State. Jarrett tries to go with the Aaron Donald cross chop, and Kappa's able to slide with him, does a nice job anticipating the spin, just dominates that rep. Check out this veteran savvy. He's dealing with a late shift, and the guy he's responsible for jumps. I love this. Kappa just shakes his head at that discipline. Now let's start the rep. He flashes again and funnels the guy to Tristan Wirfs as he sees the game coming. It's a TE stunt. He turns his eyes to the end. He's waiting for him and just dumps him on his backside. Great block. It's just so impressive how far Alex Kappa's come in his third year. And he's not going to win every rep. Here, Grady Jarrett does a nice job getting his hands inside, but watch Alex Kappa stay square. He keeps a wide base and resets and just drives Jarrett into the ground. Awesome recovery here. Rewinding it back, just check out that power Kappa generates from his lower body after sliding back. Awesome stuff. And in the run game, this is what he was known for coming out of Humboldt State. He is a mauler. This is a double team block with Tristan Wirfs. And check out Alex Kappa finishing this play. He plays with a nasty streak, and you can see that here with him finishing Grady Jarrett into the turf. And here on this big run, he works the double team with Grady Jarrett and Tristan Wirfs. That helps create a hole, and then Kappa works his way up to the second level to a linebacker. Awesome play, and Alex Kappa has grown into a really solid player in his third year out of Humboldt State. moving from left tackle to right guard, where he's doing a great job for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers this season.
All right, welcome back to the evolution of Sports Talk Television. It's the Sports Web. I'm your host, Peter Blake, along with Mr. Blake Anthony of Sports Talk 49. Your thoughts on that breakdown? Alex Kappa not making the Pro Bowl, and he's definitely deserved it with that play. You look at his play last week. I mean, that's been consistent all year long for this offensive line, and I think he's been so great that he's absolutely helped out a Tristan Wirfs, right?
Absolutely. Those two have been together like peanut butter and jelly. They've gone together to play very well.
Like Blake and Blake, right?
Yeah, Blake and Blake. A lot of people don't even believe it. When they be like, is that a joke? I'm like, no,
that's real names. Yeah, that's crazy.
They've gone together perfectly. And usually when you don't mention somebody's name, that usually means they're playing very well. Nobody's really mentioned Kappa's name, as Stephen Shea said. It's because he's not giving up plays.
Yeah, Stephen Shea, thank you very much. The Barstool Sports does a great job of breaking it down. We try to have his breakdowns every show because he definitely is on the mark. Let's see. The guys are gone. So I'll tell you what, let's go ahead and read some of these comments and then we'll get back to it. Again, open phone line, 727-255-0391. It's 727-255-0391. Again, NFL Network only for this game. Ari says, I hope they check down against us all day long. Our linebackers and safeties will feast. Ari, again, Denver was a cover 2, I think. Bucs time 12. James Arians counting his hats and t-shirts before the game is played. Bad form regardless of who the opponent is. I like those comments this week. He basically was saying, look, we've got to win this game. It's a hat and t-shirt game because you do get a hat and t-shirt if you get to the playoffs, right? Playoffs.
Yeah, definitely. He's just having confidence in something.
I don't think it's bad form. I think everybody's so concerned about how the Bucs could ruin this. It's that, what is it? Bucs traumatic stress disorder, the PTSD. That's what it is. So,
Bucs fans go wrong.
Yes, will go wrong. Right. I think you got to have a little bit of confidence. I don't necessarily think it's bad form by Coach Arians to talk about how important this game is. It's important. If you win, you're in. And that's what you got to do is get in. And that was their goal at the beginning of the season.
It all depends on how you look at it. Because if you look at it, if he's telling them they need to play with urgency, then that's a good thing because that's definitely something.
Isn't that what you want?
Are you not entertained?
Right.
Are you not entertained?
Playoffs?
Yes.
We'll talk about
playoffs. Yeah.
You kidding me? Playoffs?
I think there's a lot of fans that are still can't believe that statement is going to happen. But look, if the Bucs take care of their business today, they're in the playoffs for the first time in 13 years.
Popping bottles.
Peter
might go out tonight.
I definitely may do something tonight. That's for sure. It's what is it? Saturday? It's a Saturday. It's on a Sunday. So we still got a day off. So who knows? Probably just stay home. I believe go Bucs. Would you shut up and be quiet? Ben says, I believe go Bucs. Mike Evans will break his touchdown record today. Deshaun says, but it's always a Bucs life for us. We will come out and dominate. 20 is a lot, maybe be 10, but that depends on the confidence and Vaughn. And then so pumped for this game. Go Bucs. Let me go ahead and fire those cannons for you right there. Let's go ahead and get back out to the guys here. Did you have a problem, guys, with Bruce Arians and his comments saying this is a hat and t-shirt game?
No, Bruce Arians and his political correctness and whatever he says, he's always going to say what's on his mind. And I think the players realize that, even though he's a no nonsense kind of guy, coach him hard and hug him later. But I think that as far as what he's saying, I think that half the stuff that comes out of his mouth, the players look at him like old Uncle Bruce just being funny.
If they had a problem with that comment, I think other certain players would have problems with their comments.
Yeah, I mean, and we hear from a webhead here, and look, you can have your opinion if you want to. I don't necessarily think it's bad form. I just think he's trying to relay the message that this is a game that the Bucs have to win. You have to win. You don't want to depend on another team. You don't want to depend on the Chicago Bears or the Arizona Cardinals or the LA Rams. You want to get it done today, and you have a great opportunity, guys, to have the number 5 seed, which is what you want in the first place because you get the NFC East winner.
You don't want to wait till week 17 or 16 or whatever. You don't want to wait till that last game against those Falcons because, again, those divisional games, they always play them tight, and you don't want the Falcons to come in here thinking how they can, even if they can just upset the Bucs and put them to the 7th seed or something like that. You don't want them to even have that chance. But thank the NFL, because after all the mishaps or miscues the Buccaneers have had on national television this season, the most national television games ever, they give us a nice Saturday game. Again, we're the only game in town. People are going to tune in, and this is the last chance for the Bucs not only to get the hat and T-shirts, but to go ahead and show the NFL what this team can look like when they play a complete and rounded game.
But I wouldn't mind a wet T-shirt contest. Peter, you up?
Wait a minute, what T-shirt? Who said that?
I'll just say no at this point, and I'll go ahead and do this right there. But look, I get what you're saying here, Harry the Greek, Mr. 88% on the T-shirt game. You'll want to clinch playoffs. You don't want to depend on somebody else here, so they have every opportunity. You're a Bears fan to a certain degree. You've been a Bears fan for a long time. You've watched the Detroit Lions. What concerns you the most with this Lions offense or this defense? It's more
Matthew Stafford. That's the only thing that concerns me. Matthew Stafford and his weapons. Defensively, I think we can line up against them and beat them.
Well, look, you have three missing corners. I mean, three healthy corners at this juncture. You're missing Trufant. You're missing linemen. I mean, and then on top of it, you would think, and we talked about this earlier, guys, that the Bucs would certainly have an advantage here with the COVID stuff that's going on with the Lions, with not having your interim coach, having guys that have never called plays offensively and defensively. Here, you kind of scoffed at it and said you don't think necessarily the Bucs are going to have an advantage. Why is that?
I, for the life of me, cannot remember, to be honest with you. I just don't think it's going to be an advantage. I just don't. It's just, you ever get those little gut feelings, Peter? It's one of those, and that's just my opinion. I just don't think there's going to be a real advantage that way.
All right, I'll tell you what, we're going to put you back in the lobby here because I guess we're getting a little bit of freezing out of there, so I don't know what's going on. We'll see if we can reset that, what's going on. But from what he was telling me off the air, he thinks that, Darren Bevel will have some type of scripted plays. He'll be able to contact the coaches. I mean, do you think that's possible, that they'll have scripted plays and they'll be ready for it? Or is this, going into it? And then looking on the other side, the tendency breaker, where you don't necessarily know what these offensive and defensive play callers are going to do. Isn't that an advantage to the Lions going into it?
Yeah, we can look at it as that way. They have an advantage because nobody has a clue what they're going to do on offense and defense. And I think they don't have a clue what they're going to do on offense and defense. So it definitely has an advantage. These guys are trying to make a staple on them getting future jobs, being interim coaches right now, thrown to the fire per se, with a team that's clearly not built to win games right now, especially with all the injuries. Tampa Bay, like I said, Tampa Bay just needs to just come out and play the game that they know how to play, and just don't hurt themselves in this game and don't give the Lions any confidence.
Yeah, and just talking about Tom Brady, he has 2+ passing touchdowns in each of his last 5 games, 12 passing touchdowns since Week 10, his longest streak since 2015, 9 straight games. The Lions have allowed 29 passing touchdowns this season, 4th most in the NFL. So once again, let's go back out to the guys here, see if we can get them on. We're good to go. So Tom Brady right now on a hot streak, right where the Bucs want him to be, and this is where you want your offense to take off. And I want to see this team get off to a fast start today so they can start to open up that playbook and make it interesting instead of getting down early and then having the comeback.
We all want that, but they haven't done it in 8 games. So let's just act surprised if it happens.
Right.
I'm seriously, let's just act surprised if it happens. It hasn't happened in 8 games, guys.
But hey, don't forget though, 53, right? Professional NFL football players. This is a hurt dog, Detroit. Not only are they out of the playoffs, but again, as you just alluded to, Peter, with the COVID protocols and half their coaching staff, with the wide receiver coach actually calling the plays as a head coach today. There's a lot of players, and then in this case, a lot of coaches who are trying to put tape on their resume. So I think the playbook for the Lions is completely wide open today, and that makes them a bit of a wild card. So
that's what I was saying. And if you go back to last week's game against the Atlanta Falcons, defensively, it's about the same as what they're going to face this week. And they didn't do it last week. For some reason, this team just comes out in the second half and plays. Look, from everybody's wishes to God's ears and to fruition, they come out and they actually score points in the first half and they dominate a game from front to back. But nothing has shown me that they've done that. It's an unpopular opinion that I have, but I'm telling you what I see. Okay, and on a weekly basis, that is the only Achilles heel on this team right now is they just don't come out strong.
Well, let me tell you, too, real quick, Peter, if I can. Just like I saw a couple of games this year, Lord knows what was in his head. We saw TB run to the locker room without shaking hands or without any post-game love. Honestly, I want the team to lock up that wild card and get in the playoffs for the first time in 13 years, but I hope I don't see a team celebrating with hats and T-shirts. I mean, what is a hat and T-shirt for wild card? Is there an actual wild card T-shirt? Like, hey, look at us. We're the 7th seed. I'd love to see a team that takes care of business, congratulates themselves, but also realizes that the true business is just getting started.
You know, I'm going to fill in on that. Even if they do win today, and which they're going to, Tom Brady is not going to allow that. That man has been to the dance more than any human being ever has. That's just the beginning. And that's exactly what he's going to tell this team.
Act like you've been here before.
You know, and I'm telling you, it's not going to be the huge parties or anything else. Save the partying until after the Super Bowl, period.
I hope that, guys. And let's go out to the phone lines. Welcome to the Evolution. You're on with yours truly, Blake Anthony at Sports Talk 49, Mr. 88%, Harry the Greek, and, of course, Best of the Bay, Tampa Bay, Ray Kennedy. Of course, Couple Ray, what do you say? What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, Shane Young, Mr. Blake, how you doing once again? Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas, buddy. How you doing?
I'm doing great, man. Can't be better, man. Had time with the family yesterday. Ate good. Now it's time for some football. So
Absolutely.
Here we are.
So what are you looking at in this game, Bucs versus the Lions? If the Bucs win, they go to the playoffs.
Yes, they do. Hey, once again, the comeback kid. Like I told you last week, I said he's going to prove why he's the greatest. I said, why not have a better quarterback at this time to prove? He's a 6th-round draft pick. He had the greatest comeback in Super Bowl history. Last week, he came back 17-0. He's a comeback kid. I love him, man. Why not Tampa Bay be thankful that y'all got one of the greatest quarterbacks in NFL history? So
I absolutely agree with that, and he's definitely turned around this franchise. The transformation has taken place with this team, playing meaningful football in December. Right. I mean, that hasn't happened again in 13 years. And here's a quarterback that has 32 touchdowns playing at a high level. Say whatever you want to about the Pro Bowl, but he's definitely been everything as advertised and more.
Yes. So I think today, like I say, he goes in, proves, get a nice win today, and then go into playoffs. And then that's when he's really going to get focused and locked in with his teammates and with Bruce Arians and, Antonio Brown and all that. He got it. You know what I'm saying? Why not? 20-year veteran. You know what I'm saying? He knows the ins and outs of the NFL, and he knows what he got facing him. So
absolutely,
why not a better quarterback?
Give me a prediction today, Shane. Bucs versus the Lions. Who wins and why?
Okay, I got Tampa Bay. I'm gonna go 28-10. I think they come out because of last week, a little slump. So I think they come out and prove, go up early. Because like I said, from last week, they was getting behind early. So I think they come in, they dominate early, keep the lead, get into the playoffs, and then cruise from there.
All right, let me go ahead and fire those cannons. We will see you after the game on the post-game edition of the Sports Web. All right, boss?
Okay, man. Take care. Merry Christmas, Blake, man, and your family, all right?
All right, Merry Christmas, buddy. There you go. Good stuff there. Of course, a day after Christmas, and it seems weird, but everybody could be getting what they want for Christmas. Now, going back to Tom Brady, if you don't think this means something to him, you'd be dead wrong. Of course, he started out his career at Michigan. I learned a lot of lessons at Michigan. Michigan was a great training ground for me because nothing was gifted. You had to go out there and earn it. You had to earn the respect of your teammates and your coaches. For me, that's what I had to do in order to play in college. I didn't expect much difference when I went to the pros and got my opportunity. I always felt like I got my opportunity. I was never going to look back. I still haven't really looked back that much, even in 20-plus years. With that being said, he's playing his 300th game today. He will end the year tied for 11th all-time in regular season games played with kicker John Casey, one behind Brett Favre, and 2 games behind Jerry Rice, the only 2 non-kicker types in the top 10. And the Bucs can clinch a playoff berth with a win over the lowly Lions. 2020 would be Brady's 12th consecutive playoff appearance. His 11 straight years is already the longest such streak by any quarterback in the Super Bowl era. Brady last missed the playoffs in 2008, of course, with a knee injury in week 1. So what do you take out of all that?
Well, first of all, talking back to some of the things going on today, also, I'm going to throw this out. There's a wild card because we're going to be up against it here in a minute and do our predictions. But I also like Ryan Suckup still going 14 points shy of hitting that 131 mark for the most points scored in a Buccaneers season. And we've seen him kick just fantastic all year. And maybe 7 of those points today come off of extra points. But I like him to get halfway there and then see what we can do next week and see him set that mark, because I think Ryan Suckup has been probably in a few games been the big difference between like last year and this year as far as that record goes. And we're at 9-5 now, and looking at the playoffs. Yeah. And also, if you can, it was 1997. It was our 19th year that we hadn't made the playoff or got a playoff victory, and we beat Detroit 20-10 there in the last game in the Big Sombrero. And wouldn't it just be poetic that we get back to the playoffs in 13 years by beating Detroit in their house today and getting in and securing that wild card position?
That's really great insight. But talking about Ryan Suckup, his over and under on a proposition bet right now is 13.5 points. He's not kicking field goals in this game, guys. Bet the under on that one. I'm glad you brought up Suckup. I mean, I can't help myself. I'm always thinking gambling. I don't know why.
Well, you're Harry the Greek, Mr. 88%. So with that being said, go ahead and give us some tidbits here on how you can make some extra holiday money. You got your pen and piece of paper ready? I know you need some money for the holiday season there, Mr. Blake Anthony. Mr. Harry the Greek, what are you saying here? What's some of the matchups you're looking at? Who are you betting for? Who are you betting against?
First off, do 3 things for me. I'm just kidding. Go ahead, Harry.
Don't make me do it.
Be quiet.
You know what? If you want to bet in today's games, I do still like the over. It's a little harder to achieve being at 55 for total points, but I do think that this game is going to be very high scoring. And if you feel adventurous, parlay it into tonight's game, because I think the Raiders getting 3.5 points is not only a lock, but play them on the money line. Your return on that 2-team parlay is going to be close to 4-1. The game in the middle, which are the 49ers visiting the Arizona Cardinals. I don't know which San Francisco team is coming to play, but I can tell you this much. They're bringing a defense, and they always play extremely hard. And Kittle's coming back, and the 49ers are getting 5.5 points. Unfortunately, I don't have an opinion in that game, but it wouldn't surprise me to see the 49ers not only cover that and win that game. Another team that's going to be an underdog, but that is definitely not a prediction that I am offering live on air.
All right. So there you go. There's Mr. 88% himself, Mr. Harry the Greek. Let me put you guys back in the lobby. You got one more breakdown of Josh Wells from Mr. Blake Anthony. So stand by. We'll come back with your predictions. All right. Stand by. There we go. So let's go out to Mr. Blake Anthony. My perspective on Josh Wells here on the evolution of Sports Talk Television, live from the Deck Bar and Grill, powered by 320solar.com. Enjoy. And it's not playing.
What's up, everybody, and welcome back to another edition of My Perspective with your host from Sports Talk 49, Blake Anthony. Check out today's My Perspective and let me know what you think. Make sure to follow me on social media. Enjoy. A lot of fans ask me, Blake, how did Josh Wells do in Donovan Smith's absence? And I'm here to tell you he played very well. He gave up very seldom bad plays, but made a lot of great ones, both in run and pass blocking. So check this out. I give him a B grade and enjoy. Josh Wells' first play in action is a nice kick slide and takes on 2 defenders, forcing the outside defenders back inside where Tom Brady's able to get off the pass and get a completion. Wells gets a great punch on this defender and keeps on him until he gets to the ground. I like how Wells plays to the whistle. Bucs fans get to find out Wells has a little bit of attitude with him. Gets a nice cutback block and a nice pancake on this play. Here's one of Josh Wells' miscues. Defender gets a head start inside, and Wells gets beat, but he keeps trying to ride him, and Brady's forced to get rid of the ball early. Josh Wells here is up against 2021 Pro Bowler Grady Jarrett and has great feet, great hands, and lets Grady Jarrett get nothing. Bucs fans have asked me, can Josh Wells run block? This block here, he chips down with Marpet, gets up to the next guy, blocks him, keeps driving. Fournette gets 9-yard gain, and Wells does not stop till the whistle and pancakes the guy. This play right here is one of my favorites. I like to call it WW2. And I don't mean World War II. I mean Wells and Worse. Worse is blocking his man coming down, and that's Pro Bowler Grady Jarrett. Wells gets kind of knocked off his spot, holds his own, still blocking Grady. Tristan Wirfs sees Grady coming from the backside. Well, bam! Puts Grady Jarrett on his backside, looking down at him like, that all you got, Pro Bowler? Last but definitely not least, Antonio Brown's first touchdown as a Buccaneer and the game-sealing touchdown. Wells is up against Steven Means, and Wells means to handle all his business on this play. Steven Means comes out in a bull rush. Wells tells him, have a seat. Take this play off, son. He said, we're running doggies to the end zone, and the trail runs right over your ass. Brady says, thank you. Throws it for a touchdown. And you know the rest. Game over.
All right, good stuff there from Blake Anthony at Sports Talk 49. Once again, go ahead and promote your show Monday and Fridays at 3 o'clock, correct?
Always Monday doing post-game, Friday.
All right, there
doing
you go.
pre-game.
So Monday and Fridays at 3 o'clock. Guys, going back out to you. Pretty good breakdown. Josh Wells last week really picking up the slack, and there was some worry going into that Falcons game they would miss Donovan Smith, but it certainly seemed like they didn't, right?
Well, I alluded to it on Cup of Ray this morning that the Buccaneers can utilize last week's game, this week's game. Of course, again, with Ryan Jensen playing for Marpet earlier this season, some of the injuries with Donovan being out last game, the Buccaneers were able to flex a little bit and show that what we thought was one of their biggest weaknesses was depth at offensive line. If you call the plays right, you get that running game and that passing game working in conjunction, the Buccaneers can start to show that they're not as thin at the offensive line as we once thought, and having that flexibility come playoff time, guys, next man up, that mentality has to be there.
Yeah, I'd have to agree with everything that Ray's saying, but I just wish that they would call more running plays, and Bruce Arians just not going to be able to contain himself because that depleted secondary for Detroit, you're going to see a lot of passing today, and you're going to see a lot of completions, and you're going to see a ton of touchdowns.
But they got to start getting that run, because once you do get into the playoffs, once you do get to a frozen tundra at Lambeau or wherever you're playing against, whatever team you're playing against, they've got to have done it already so they know they can. At this point, really, they got to be questioning. Players themselves are probably questioning, okay, we've been practicing it all year, but when we get down to brass tacks, are we going to be able to run that ball? So even with a depleted secondary, and I'd like to see him get off, and we want to see Mike Evans get off, we still want to see him get that running game going.
You're going to see a lot of running in the fourth quarter. I got a funny feeling. I really do, because Detroit, they're going to come out and throw the kitchen sink at them just like Atlanta did. Okay, there's game tape on what happened last week, and I have to tell you, Detroit's a far better team offensively than Atlanta is.
Oh, yeah.
Without Julio Jones. Okay, let me make that clear. I don't want anybody rolling their eyes when I say that. That's why they're going to be passing the ball a lot, period. Because if they have success on Detroit's offense, they're going to have to play that type of game plan. But going into the fourth quarter, they're going to have a comfortable enough lead, and you're going to see probably 8 to 10 carries alone in the fourth quarter.
All right, guys, we got 6 minutes, so let's go ahead and read the rest of these comments, and then we'll get out of here. I want the hat. True story. Tom says also, loose cannons, what scares me from opposing team, nothing to lose to try wild plays. Mike says, get this playoff bid, fire those cannons. I shall, right there. There we go. Let's see, maybe a believer, former hater, says Tom. And Deshaun says, let's go Bucs. So let's go out to you guys really quick. Your prediction for this game, Bucs versus the Lions on this special Saturday edition of the Sports Web, a day after Christmas.
No. You first, Ray.
All right, I like Bucs secondary to get 2 picks today, because Stafford is going to be throwing it all around. I like Winfield to get an interception against the Lions. I got the Bucs winning 35-17.
I got something similar. I like 38-27.
All right, let's go back out to you, Mr. Blake Anthony of Sports Talk 49. What do you say?
35-14.
35-14. All right, I like 35-20. Mike Evans gets over 150 receiving yards. Tom Brady eclipses that mark for single season Bucs touchdown, throwing touchdowns in this game. Bucs win 35-20 and clinch a playoff spot. Playoffs. They exercise the defense 13 years. Absolutely. So, guys, final thoughts from you.
Again, like to see Ryan Suckup going for that record, just because I think the kid's earned it this year. I'd like to see Mike Evans get halfway to the yardage he still needs just to give him a chance next week against the Falcons. That if we do lock this game up this week, we can go ahead and let him go for that 7th 1,000-yard season. Don't want to see the Buccaneers do anything, though, that would hinder a victory so they can lock up that wild card playoff position for the first time in 13 years.
My final thoughts, just win. That's it. Win and you're in.
All right. Good stuff, guys. Let me go ahead and get you out of here. We'll see you at halftime. Blake, your final thoughts.
No mental mistakes. Play your game.
Play your game. All right. And, of course, it just comes down to, like you said, play your game. Let's get off to a good start. Let's see if this team can get off to a good start. And once again, it will be nice to see the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in the playoffs after 13 years. So
Playoffs?
Playoffs for the great Tampa Bay Ray Kennedy Cup of Ray, Best of the Bay, Mr. Harry the Greek, 88%er, Blake Anthony of Sports Talk 49. I'm your host, Peter Blake. We'll see you at halftime on the evolution of Sports Talk Television, live from the Deck Bar and Grill, powered by 320solar.com. Enjoy the game, guys.
Come to Sam Ash for hundreds of exclusive holiday deals on music and sound gear from the most iconic brands. Save big on professional and starter guitars, drums, digital pianos, horns, violins, DJ, and electronic production equipment. Supercharge your home studio with deals on podcasting, streaming, and AV equipment like speakers, microphones, headphones, and acoustic treatment. Plus, with 36 months no-interest financing on thousands of items, you can get the gear of your dreams right now. From our incredible selection and service to our lowest price guarantee for over 95 years, real musicians know you only go to Sam Ash.
Yeah, we call them hat and t-shirt games. You know, this is a hat and t-shirt game. You can get a hat and a t-shirt when you're in the playoffs, and so yeah, it's a great feeling for those guys. You know, that was the goal this year. It was to get in the dance, and anything can happen once you're in there. But get ourselves in the dance, and we have that opportunity Sunday.
Is Tampa right now, that team you watched yesterday, are they a threat to make a deep playoff run?
The expectations are Super Bowl. Now, it's a team game, and it's the team accolade to go out there and say we're Super Bowl champions. So he's going to need everyone in tow.
You look at the column of the W's and the L's, that's all I really care about as a football player and as a head coach.
Let me tell you something right now, and this defense that Tom Bowles is running, oh my Lord, these brothers can ball.
Got a receiver open, it's Antonio Brown, touchdown Tampa Bay!
Are the Bucs more likely to win the Super Bowl or miss the playoffs?
But we haven't played the playoffs yet. We don't know what's going to happen. The debate will be settled on the field. With Fournette at your running back spot, with Ronald Jones as well. And then you got Brady flat out balling.
All I know is that all I want for Christmas under this tree is the first playoff first for the Buccaneers since 2007. And Casey, it's right there.